If you work with WordPress and like to write Sass code, you might be interested in Microthemer's new super optimized Sass compilation process, which converts Sass code to CSS code in a fraction of a second, even on very large projects. Oh, and for those of you that haven't heard of Microthemer before, it's a browser-based CSS editor in the form of a WordPress plugin. To demonstrate how well Microthemer's Sass compilation works at scale, I've imported the style sheet used on themeover.com several times to generate almost 3,000 selectors in the interface. And if we look at the size of the Sass file this generates, we can see that it's over 20,000 lines long, far bigger than a typical project. I've got the browser console open so that we can see precisely how long the Sass compilation process takes in milliseconds as we make style changes. Let's start by using a color variable to set the background color on our header. The first style change always takes longer to compile than subsequent changes, but subsequent changes will feel instantaneous. And you can see why if you look at the number of milliseconds it took to compile the Sass code in the second column of the console data. So how are these speeds possible given the unusually large size of our Sass file? Well, because Microthemer doesn't actually compile the whole file. It only compiles a subset of the Sass code. We can see exactly what Microthemer included in the compile process via the previous SCSS compile tab. This shows that only the single selector we were editing was included, along with some variables, mixins and functions I previously added to the full code editor. To access the full code editor, go to View, Full Code Editor, or use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl, Alt and C. The full code editor can be edited in the same way as a regular Sass file. So this is where we define global variables, functions, mixins, and import our favorite libraries. By the way, Sass libraries should be uploaded to the Microthemes directory, which is inside of the WP content directory. To demonstrate how much longer the compilation process takes when the entire Sass file is compiled, let's add a new import file, which always triggers a full compile. You're free to use the full code editor exclusively if you prefer it to the main UI view. And if you work on two screens, I recommend attaching the site preview to make more room for both the code editor and the site preview. However, it's worth pointing out that Microthemer can only optimize the compilation process for selectors in the main UI view. That's because the single selector architecture in this view is what makes optimized compilation possible. Going back to the full code editor, you can import as many libraries as you like. Just be mindful that they will increase the average compilation time, as they will always be included in the full code editor or when the UI selector uses Sass entities like variables or mixins. In case you were wondering, Microthemer is smart enough to include codependent selectors in the compilation process. I'll demonstrate this by creating a selector for the main page heading. And then use the globally defined variable in the masthead selector to set the same background color. This works as expected, and if we look at the code that was compiled, we can confirm that both selectors were included. Sass support isn't currently enabled by default when you first install Microthemer, so to enable it, go to General, Preferences, CSS/SCSS, and Enable SCSS. I should also note that Microthemer currently only supports the more recent SCSS syntax with the curly braces. The final point I would like to make before we finish is that Sass variables and functions can be used in the UI fields too. You are not limited to just using the custom code editor. So that concludes this brief demonstration. I hope you found it useful. You can experiment with Microthemer's Sass capabilities right now using our online demo. Simply visit our website, themeover.com, and then click the live demo button. We also have a 30-day free trial so you can test drive Microthemer on your own sites. If you have any questions at all, please open up a chat conversation or say hi on our support forum. Thanks for watching.